Alright, the NFL season is officially over as the Super Bowl finished up last night. But before we get into that, we gotta talk about what happened over the previous week. So first off, the Steelers have interviewed ESPN's Louis Riddick for the GM job. This doesn't have to be rushed at all because the general manager at this point said he's only retiring after the draft. So they only have to make this decision around March, maybe early of April. So it's not terrible, but I don't think I'd take Louis Riddick. I think there's too much going on in that situation. You have the fact that he works for ESPN. You have the fact that he's doing Monday Night Football. Let's just keep him at that. Go bring in someone who's a little more qualified and that can give you a chance. The Texans have decided, as they set on a new head coach, it's Lovie Smith. Now, I don't mistake this hire. If you remember last week, I said hire a defensive coach. Whether it's Flores, whether it's Allen, even Lovie Smith would be a good candidate. They decided to go through that route. The same day, they announced that they were taking Lovie Smith as their head coach. And I understand everyone's like, well, this is a political hire. This is not a terrible hire. He's very good as a coach. The one thing I'm going to have concern about is that offense. But otherwise than that, I think this was a good hire because I don't think there was really other options. I think you lost out because Josh McDaniels left. You were not interested in hiring Eric Bieniemy. You really had no intrigue to hire really anyone else besides Josh McCown. And I think this was another way to say, you're here for a year until Josh McCown is ready. And that could be the case. But for right now, Lovie Smith is the new head coach of the Houston Texans. Though it was announced it was announced that the Raiders were interested in bringing Joe Judge on the staff, but then that ended up not happening as Joe Judge is now going back to New England in that kind of offensive assistant role. We don't know if he's going back to being a wide receiver coach. We don't know anything. All we know is he's going back to New England. Rich Bisaccia to join the Packers as a special teams coordinator. Now, here's my thing. To me, Bisaccia should be a head coach. I was saying that really since the end of the year, and really a few weeks before the end of the year, where I was like, this guy knows how to coach. The players go for it. They do whatever they gotta do. So I do believe. I didn't understand why the Raiders got rid of Mike Mayock. I didn't understand why Bisaccia was not retained. I didn't know any of that because it made no sense to me. To me, this is a bad decision on the Raiders, but then you go with Josh McDaniels, and I get it. You got the two Patriot guys; they'll be able to work together. But to me, it should be Mike Mayock as the general manager, Rich Bisaccia as the head coach. But then I thought, since he's open to it, he'll go anywhere, and they said no, you're not going to even be a head coach. You're going to go back to special teams, which is what the Packers need. They do need it. They were terrible on special teams last year in terms of returns, in terms of they just were messing up on everything in terms of their special teams. Missed field goals, a blocked punt, a blocked field goal. Like, those things happen, but it's how it's operated that makes it an issue. The last vacancy as a head coach was filled by the Saints as they hired Dennis Allen, a guy that I said that deserves to be a head coach, and he's going to get his opportunity with the New Orleans Saints. To me, this makes a lot of sense. This is the place he's been. I understand they were doing their due diligence, in which you have to. I think Dennis Allen's a good coach. Now, I thought they could go the Brian Flores route, or there was also interest that they were in touch with Eric Bieniemy. But they ended up going with Dennis Allen, which I think is a good move. I'm more interested to see if they keep Joe Lombardi around as the offensive coordinator, and we'll move from there. I mean, not Joe Lombardi, but whoever they have as the offensive coordinator, we'll see where it goes. As the Cowboys had to hire a new wide receiver coach, as they hired Robert Prince. Now the expectation is this was not a bad hire. He does have a relationship with Kellen Moore. He was the offensive coordinator in Kellen Moore's last year at Boise State. He actually was, I believe, the wide receiver coach for the Detroit Lions during Kellen Moore's career, the latter part of his career in Detroit. So there is a connection there. They can work with each other. So I don't mind this. As we said before, Joe Judge is going back to New England in terms of an offensive assistant role. We don't know what that role is exactly yet. Jaguars to hire Mike Caldwell as the offensive coordinator. Not Jim Caldwell's son, but this is, I think, a decent enough hire that it could all work. I do like it. He did coach for Doug Peterson in the past. I like this hire. The New York Giants hired Wink Martindale as their defensive coordinator. I like this move. Not because I'm a Cowboys fan, but because I think Wink Martindale's a good coach. And we were talking a few weeks ago where people say, well, he should be a head coach. And now he was on the street. And now someone's going to pick him up, right? Well, it turns out to be the New York Giants. I think it was a good move, and I actually like the move. The Titans give Vrabel and the general manager, John Robinson, extensions. Don't know how long the extensions will last, but we do know they are extended at least through the next 2 seasons. So Vrabel and Robinson have new contracts moving forward.